You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Holman, one of the largest privately owned dealership groups in the U.S., recently expanded with the acquisition of Leith Automotive. Today, we're joined by Chris Conroy, the CEO of Holman, to discuss the acquisition and what lies ahead. Thank you so much for joining us once again here at CBT News.
My pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me again.
Sure. So before we get into the big news about Leith Automotive and that acquisition, let me first ask you about your business. How's it going today?
Well, it's going great. We're the last time we were together, we had chatted about the diverse business that is Holman. So we talk a lot about our retail automotive division, but we have a diverse group of companies that make up our enterprise, and they're all doing really well. So we're excited for the future. And as I think you know, we're celebrating 100 years in business this year. So it's been exciting. We've been out celebrating with our folks over the course of the last few months.
That's fantastic. 100 years. Wow. That is pretty cool. And I might add, privately owned, right? I mean, you guys never went the public route.
No. So Mindy Holman is our chair of the board here, and her mantra is, as the third generation, so her grandfather started the company in 1924, is that we're a privately held company, and that is what we intend to be, and there is no plan B. So it's pretty exciting, and obviously comes with a lot of responsibility too for those of us that are fortunate enough to lead the organization to make sure we carry this on into the next, not just decade, but the next century of ownership. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Sure. A few dealers have shared with me that the first few months, the first quarter of 2024 was a little rocky. Did you find that to be the case?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen I don't know if it's a right sizing, but we've certainly see some compression, which is natural given the bounce back in inventories and the economics of things that are outside of our control with interest rates and so on. But it's been a very, very positive order for us. I think every business is so unique. We're unique in that our businesses balance each other out, and I won't get into all that detail, but specific to the retail automotive business, we've seen the same pressures that others have. I think what we're going to talk about a little bit here with Leith, the scale that we're starting to build helps us from that perspective. But no, we're living through all the same things that everybody else does. And now we're really a return to managing the business properly. We had so much good fortune. And I think we were the benefits of a lot of things that came our way. Now we really have to muscle up and do the right thing. So we're working to make sure we do that.
Right. Well, starting that muscle up is the acquisition of Leith Automotive, which gave you now 58 dealerships representing 34 brands. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, we're really excited. And a thank you to Linda Leith for her work with us over the course of what came together over the last year or so, and the business that her and her family have built there. This was just the perfect opportunity for us. We were looking to grow. We were looking to put some of our equity that we've grown in our business to work, and this came our way. And it's a very unique opportunity, given that it's the size and the scale of 27 stores and essentially one area, one city. There's so many benefits to that. It comes with a number of brands that we didn't have, and just a quality operation. And I think most importantly was the cultural fit between the two companies, both being privately held. So yeah, we're really excited. It gives us a lot of things that we can build towards for the future.
And I think it was one of the first female owner to female owner acquisitions that took place, right?
Yeah, you're probably right. I hadn't gone back and looked. You may know better than I do, but that was unique too. And I will say there was a couple of contributing factors that made this work for us. The relationship between Linda Leith tells a wonderful story about having met Mr. Joe Holman, who was Mindy's father, who passed away in 2019 back in the day, and just how much of a gentleman he was. And it stuck with her that, wow, if I'm ever going to sell my company, I'm going to sell it to someone who's going to take care of my people in the way that the Holman family does. And so that, I think that was a big contributing factor to it. But then, the connection between Mindy Holman and Linda was immediate, which was great. And we also had some folks that now are big leaders in our business that came to us through the acquisition in 2016 of Cooney. And to see how they've stayed with our business, they now have a leadership impact. I think that also made an impression on her. And so it's just been a great fit. But yeah, I hadn't really consider too much, but I guess there's not too many out there, woman
No,
to
there
woman.
isn't.
It's
There isn't.
fantastic.
So I think it's a great representation to those females that are in the industry and those that are looking to get into, the
100%.
retail automotive
We
industry.
need more of them.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. So what is it that you look for when acquiring a group like Leith?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're all that dissimilar from anyone else. I will say that, we've gone through formal strategic planning processes over the last few years to kind of highlight where we wanted to take all of our businesses, but in particular the retail franchise business.
Mm-hmm.
And we did want to grow. And there were really, I guess three main criterias. One is we wanted to scale in markets where we had operations.
Yeah.
So that was, number one, to build out and from a development of people perspective and all the reasons you already know,
Sure.
to have those platforms that had some scale. So that was number one. Number two is to do it in I'll call it states. It may be city specific in some cases,
Mm-hmm.
places where there was advantages to having and operating that type of business. So an attractive geography to operate in. And then number three, obviously, was the brand, looking for the right fit for us and how we operate and what we know we can do well.
Sure.
Leith obviously checked all the boxes in a strange way, given the fact that we didn't operate in North Carolina. But the fact that this came with so much scale for us, it's a great location, a growing city in Raleigh. Just that whole area is booming. And it came to us, as I mentioned before, with, some brands that were very attractive to us, that some we already had and some we didn't. So when we're looking to expand, which we will continue to do in a smart way, those are the things that we look for. And I guess the last piece is, we've built a centralized operation based on this type of scale. Now sitting here with, it's actually 60 stores. We'll talk a little bit about some recent activity, but with 60 stores, we can do some things from a central perspective that really has helped us as well. And I think that's going to help our future performance.
Sure. Is the overall plan to just continue to add stores over the years? I mean, do you look at a Hendrick or a Terry Taylor and say, okay, we want to win this game?
No. I don't think that's the mentality.
Yeah.
I think we look to be opportunistic where it makes sense. We have a responsibility to our ownership and to the shareholders that are the management of the company to invest wisely. So we're not growing for the sake of growth.
Yeah.
Our purpose is to create more opportunities for our people so they can have a better lives for themselves and their families.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds trite, but it's true.
Sure.
So all that being said, I fully expect, we'll look back in 5 years and we'll be bigger at that point than we are today, as it relates to this segment of our business.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking to grow across our portfolio. But more importantly than anything, we're looking to be relevant for the future generations of ownership of this company.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens in retail, great. If it happens in our fleet management space or our distribution networks, where we build and distribute products, great. But no, we're not chasing scale. I do expect we're going to wake up in 3 to 5 years and hopefully have lots of liquidity to go out and do something, and maybe we will again. But could I see us in 6 months or 6 weeks all of a sudden have something that made sense? For sure. But right now we're working on bringing these two companies together.
Sure. What if you get that phone call from an Asbury or an AutoNation that says, you've done a great job, let us take it from here?
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Well, the phone call
might happen, but you're not on the block, happen. Right?
No, we're committed. We're committed to our businesses for the long term. And, as much as we've seen a change in things over the last few months, we believe the value of our holdings are significant. But we're here as a privately owned business to do, great things and create more opportunities. And
sure.
If anything, I see us growing. So yeah, we're excited for the future.
That's great. Let me ask you about the future. Obviously, a lot of dealers, and I'm sure that you're probably part of this group, that say, man, the industry is moving very, very fast with this EV situation, and maybe we need to pump the brakes as an industry because it seems as though the consumers just aren't there yet at the level that the OEMs would like them to be.
Yes.
Where do you fall on that, and what do you think about an EV future?
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, the product is terrific. The little bits that are out there and being utilized today, it's certainly going to be a part of our future.
Mm-hmm.
We have an interesting lens because we have it both on the consumer side and the commercial side. Mm-hmm. We manage 2.1 million commercial vehicles for customers.
Wow.
So we see it, and I could tell, probably the best answer is to say we're not making any decisions for today based on the EV strategy of the manufacturers or even the consumer demand. It's not a big part of what we do day in and day out. It is, however, having an impact. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you can talk about days of inventory in EV versus in ICE engines. And I mean, there's a lot of different factors. It'll play itself out. I think it's going to be a much slower take rate than, some would suggest, but it's noise for us at this point. Noise that we have to be responsive to and have a position for and invest in. We fully recognize and are committed to doing that, but it hasn't had any factor in our decision making.
Yeah. Do you all look at the climate in terms of, we're in a very contested presidential election here in the next 6 months? This should be fun to watch, but is that a concern of yours at all about which party might get into office with regard to EVs and so many other issues that dealers are facing?
Well, fun time is probably a good description. Oh my goodness, it's been fun already, and it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes.
Yes,
I'm a firm believer in controlling what you can control.
Yeah,
and certainly there are efforts that we make to protect our own interests in terms of how we lobby and partner with others, and we'll continue those. I don't worry too much. It is going to be what it's going to be, and we'll have to react when we understand that. All that being said, we work really hard to make sure that everything we can do to be successful in any environment, political, economic, or otherwise, we're doing the things that make sure that we're going to be successful. So It's going to be interesting for sure. We'll watch along with everyone else with great interest. But we don't see anything getting in the way of our success one way or the other.
Sure. So after the Leith, that's a big acquisition, and obviously it went through successfully and such, and it's great. Will we see any more in 2024 coming out of your camp in the way of acquisitions?
Yeah, so just a couple of weeks ago, which was a couple of weeks or a few weeks after Leith, we announced the acquisition of a Land Rover store in Lynnwood, Washington. So that was, I don't want to say it was unexpected, but it just made a great fit for us. We had and we have a Lexus store in the Seattle area. So it was an addition there that was kind of a standalone, and now we have two, and again, creating some scale in the market.
Sure.
So I think it probably speaks to us taking advantage of opportunities if there are some that come up. All that being said, for a variety of reasons, I don't see anything significant, this year or next for us. There may be a couple of one-offs here or there that just make sense. We're committed to our strategy.
Yeah.
Scale, brands, markets, centralization of our services where it can bring some benefit to the business's profitability. Beyond that, I don't see anything significant coming down the road anytime soon.
What's more important, the brand and the business operation itself, or the geographic location of it? Are there certain areas that you're targeting to say we want stores? A lot of dealer groups want them in the Southeast and Florida and Texas and what have you. Or are you just saying, look, let's look at the operation as a whole? What's the EBITDA? What is the what's the return on our investment? Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no easy answer to that question because things kind of stand on their own. If we were to have a really nice store in a place where we don't have anything today, I'm not sure that we would really be looking at it. If there's a small group that has a handful and it's a good market, I'm sure everybody'd be after it. But, we'd certainly be interested in that. Geography certainly plays a role for us. We do want to scale where we are. That's a tough one to answer. Would we love to be in all of the places that people would love to get in? The Southeast, you call out 100%. You see multiples that are very difficult. It's hard to acquire there. We don't feel like we need to push the envelope. We're doing things where it makes sense for us.
Yeah, fantastic. Chris Conroy, Chief Executive Officer of Holman. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, giving us an update as to what's happening there at Holman. Congratulations on the acquisitions thus far, and we look forward to making some big announcements with you in 2024.
Well, we'll see, but I appreciate it, Jim. Thanks for the time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.